top-notch entertainment for you, with 5 singles to come still this evening, and every single one of them an absolute belter. So there he is, the big nasty, Big Wes, looking to try and spoil Lucky Larsson's run. We're at the Weber Cup, but Martin Larsson has played quite superbly so far. Malott started well, but his afternoon wasn't so good, and he needs to bounce back from that. So the first of our singles this evening. Malott gets it underway with a very good strike, and I can tell you that the 2 practice balls he threw while we were away on the break, he left 2 ringing 10s, and pretty solid as well. He's got right through the deck here.
Yeah, great opening shot from Wes Malott. Lots of back end, and rips the rack, and he's ecstatic about that. Haven't left the corner pin standing.
Martin Larsson sometimes takes a couple of balls to just respond, but then he finds these wonderful strike runs, and there's a starter for you. Brilliant in the Baker, and that's not a bad start in the singles. And with the score as it is, Cass, what have Team USA got to do from here?
They have to get lots more strikes in a row and not have so many open frames or corner pins. It's difficult for them.
It is tough, and on an oil pattern they didn't enjoy on the first evening.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Also that Wes Malott in his first 2 singles games, 205 and 160.
Oh, there's that corner. He's going to want to take that pin away. Another word.
Yeah, that elusive 10 pin. So he's only averaging 180 over the first 2 games. And there you can see it's a flat 10 because that 6 pin just laid in the gutter. Did it no damage whatsoever. So it can only be a spare.
How many balls will the Americans have travelled with over to Barnsley?
Well, I'm assuming they have got some excess baggage allowances, but probably between 4 and 6 bowling balls. Having said that, they may well have travelled light and could have picked some balls up from their sponsors in the UK and had them drilled up here. And a couple of the guys have been doing some bowling clinics around the country prior to coming to Barnsley for the Weber Cup. So they're just getting a little bit acclimatised.
Oh, it's a 10 left for Larsson, so that'll make Malott feel a little bit better.
Well, it's an identical leave, isn't it? Powerful shot. Once again, that 6 pin won't take the 10 away. Just fractions of centimetres difference. And again, you can see on Martin Larsson's ball the amount of oil that is on this lane, which makes the ball aquaplane, holds it on line until it gets down to about 40 feet. And that's where the power comes off the ball, transferred onto the lane, and the ball actually reacts and kicks up into the pocket.
It was even then. After 2 frames, those potential maximums. That's the score that we use to go on, but of course 10-pin bowling scoring is a lot more intricate than that. But in basic terms, if you can just keep racking those strikes up and keep them back to back to back, then that's where the big scores are going to come. That's looking good, I have to say, from Wes Malott.
Yeah, 3 almost identical shots into the pocket. Unfortunately, he's only got 2 strikes, spare in the middle. That time the 6 pin did the damage to the 10. Martin Larsson's going to step up and also try to do the same. Martin shot 265 in his opening singles game against Parker Bone. And that just shows he's lined up on this lane condition.
Yeah, that was a bit special. That wasn't so special, I'm afraid. So Larsson having a bit of a struggle here in this opening singles.
Just a fraction high on the headpin, that's why the 4-pin stands. It didn't set up the correct chain reaction. And there is the solitary pin. Wads of oil around Martin Larsson's ball, around the track area where the ball rolls. Keeps it nice and straight and takes the spare away.
If Malott can keep striking, spares won't be any good. The Team Europe man. And Swede wanders back to his chair with a wry smile on his face.
Yeah, Simon, and when you asked what do Team USA need, well, I wasn't joking when I said they need more strikes. but they need less splits and less corner pins. So they need something to start falling for them down the pin deck end of the lane.
Another 10, I'm afraid, for the man from the fabulously named Pflugerville in Texas. The 38-year-old giving the lane a good long, hard stare there.
You can't see much wrong with this. You would just say perhaps a fraction light on the head pin going into the pocket. But again, just millimetres in it, and that makes the difference.
Larsen's got to find some strikes, though. That certainly remains a factor for the 36-year-old. 8 European Bowling Tour titles to his name. Finished 5th at the USBC Masters, so that's one of his better finishes, a good major finish for him over on the American Tour. And he can't be far away from winning a title over in the States, surely.
Well, you would certainly think so, especially if you've got a lane pattern like this. But it's tough over there on the tour. And that was a pretty tough strike as well. What a great looking shot.
Pretty tough here in Barnsley, Cass. That's got the crowd animated again.
Pretty tough here in the commentary box, Simon. Great looking shot. Puts the 5-pin away as well. Sets himself up for possibly 2 strikes in a row to maintain that very, very slim lead.
It's a lead that will go in the blink of an eye if he misses a strike and Malott gets back on the line. Oh, again, slightly light into that pocket, but this time gets a nice little reaction from the 6-pin onto the 10.
And what's the difference between that and the last 10-pin spare? The 6-pin just lays in the gutter, flat as anything, but it does fall left and hit the 10-pin. It's because of the ball's deflection onto the off the 1-pin onto the 3-pin, pushes the 3-pin back and the 4-pin to the right, which is all very technical, but if you got it in super slow-mo, you would certainly see the reaction of those pins.
Yes, very specific set of contacts to ensure that all 10 go down. So a strike required, and just holds it for the camera there. There's Martin. He's a different character, he really is. I think he was a bit blown away when he first came to play on the single lane under the TV lights and in front of the cameras. You know, he was a very quiet individual, and it's all changed. He's found his personality here in the Weber Cup.
Well, I think the rest of the team have brought the personality out of him as well. Stuart and Oscar are very much wild boys.
Larsen then. Not much in the way of going back to the process there. Had a bit of a laugh and a joke with Wes. Wes took the opportunity there for a chat. Didn't change the outcome though.
It's the first double of this match, and it goes to the European. Lucky Larsen. We're at the halfway stage already. 5 frames gone.
There's our Team Europe superheroes in the crowd. Look at that get up. Well done, boys. Our very own Team Europe superheroes out there on the lane, looking good for another point after that shot.
It just shows you what a reactive bowling ball can do when it's not quite right in the pocket. It's heavy on the head pin. It breaks nothing up, look at that, and leaves the 4-7-10 a pretty difficult split. It's makeable, but it's normally an open frame, and unfortunately it is for Big Wes. And here I think his luck is very much against him.
Larsen has one very straightforward task. He's got to stomp on that open frame. And to do that, he needs 3 strikes in a row, although, I have to say it, just a clean frame would be fine as well.
I'm going for the former, Simon, that he needs a strike.
Yeah, that's what he'll be going for. Frame 6 then, Larsen. It's all good for the man they call lucky. Do you know what? I've barely seen any luck for this man. He's just been a different class so far here in Barnsley this year.
I'm just wondering to myself if he's ever done the lottery. Because with luck like he's having...
Tonight's the night.
Tonight could be the night.
He's throwing great though, isn't he? He's throwing great.
He's looking so locked in, focused on exactly what he's got to do, and he's just exercising it, isn't he? The game is all over, unfortunately, for Big Wes. Getting too much reaction in the back end now. This is the second game they've played on this oiling pattern, so it's obviously moved around a little bit. He's getting overreaction in the back end. He's left the 4, 6, 7, 10, the big four. It will be 2 open frames in a row.
Yeah, interesting decision from Big Wes. Switched to the ball that Stu Williams used to great effect yesterday in the evening session, first session of Weber Cup 16, but it hasn't worked for him. And Team USA now are in a horrible, horrible position.
Yeah, Wes looks almost speechless. Martin has just got to keep the ball on the lane and doing what he's doing. Got some breathing space. The rings another 10-pin in the corner, but he won't mind that.
Now the single 10, take it out, keep the frames clean. There's not much Malott can do from here. Very difficult to win a match when you've had 2 open frames.
Well, going back to what I was saying, Simon, he hasn't thrown 2 strikes together, so he's got no double. You mentioned earlier on that USA needs to just throw strikes together in bunches, and we're talking 4, 5, 6 in a row. Unfortunately, Wes has only got 3 single strikes here with 2 open frames, and he's going to be struggling to make 200.
So Larsen takes out the spare. And then it was gone.
Makes it look so easy, doesn't it?
Malott needs a strike or nothing. Well, that'll do for starters. Needs to strike it off the card now and then just keep his fingers crossed that Martin Larsson is going to have a little stumble here as we move into the closing stretch.
Yeah, with 3 frames to go, Martin just needs, well, a couple of spares will probably be enough. And that's if Wes strikes all the way off through 8, 9 and 10.
He was talking to that one. That was nearly trouble.
Yeah, kick the 10-pin out, leaves the 2 and the 8-pin, which is spareable. We call it a sleeper because it's 1 pin directly behind the other, just to make sure he covers the back pin with the bowling ball.
These are the crunch moments, Cass. This could change if he doesn't take it out.
Well, I'm pretty confident that he's going to get lucky. It would only be his first open frame.
And it comes very, very tidy from the big sweep. Now he hails from Gothenburg, does Martin Larsson, but there's just a touch of Gotham City about his performance at the moment. Fabulous stuff. Now then, where's Malott? If he keeps striking, he's going to ask a question. Yes, he's the man that will set the mark in this game, and by that we mean he's the man that will set the final total for his opponent to beat. And what he needs to do is make sure that Martin Larsson has to score at least reasonably heavily in the last few frames.
Just a 203 maximum for Team USA player. You need to strike out 3 times in the 10th frame to make that score.
Yes, good point, Cass. He's still got to do a lot of work to even earn that mark. Larsson. No, through the head pin. That was always going to leave something. He's left 2, and it's a perfectly makeable spare, but again, just drops back into Malott's territory a little further.
He's just keeping us on edge, isn't he? As you say, it's a very makeable spare, and that would likely be enough to get this point on the board, taking past the winning line.
Well, we're now near maximum in the Baker game. That's as much drama as you and I can handle, Cass. So let's hope Martin just gets the job done nice and tidily from here. Back to Malott then to see if he can get those 3 strikes that Cass mentioned for 203.
Unfortunately, it won't be enough. Martin's just got to put 9 on the board on his last shot, and it's all over.
What a lonely place this packed Metrodome can sometimes be. All of the Americans at some point in this Weber Cup have felt that. Where's Malott, the latest man, to be all on his own up there on stage.
Isn't it funny how when the pressure's off and the game is lost, seems to relax and lays the ball out nicely and carries all 10 pins. He's got 3 strikes in a row. 6 strikes for the game. But it was the 2 big open frames that have cost him so dearly.
Chris Barnes came up with that great quote a few years ago when he won those high rolling events in Vegas and said it's amazing how easy your arm swings when you just put 100k in the bank.
Sounds about right. I won't disagree with that.
Sub 200 again. An all too familiar story, I'm afraid, for this American team here at Weber Cup 16.
And the man they call Lucky steps up for another victory. Not quite going to make his average of 230 that he's bowled in the first couple of games, but it's pretty close and it doesn't really matter. It's the point to make the prize.
Absolutely right. All about getting the job done. And this man has an uncanny knack of doing just that. Martin Larsson with another very professional, very solid performance. And another point for Team Europe.
Yes, he can relax at last. Maybe do a bit of showboating, who knows? The game is won.
Once again, that traditional Barnsley applause to see the player over the line. And a very, very nice strike. He's got the 6 shooters out again.
Can even afford to change the bowling ball for that penultimate shot. Strike for 224.
Step over Wes Malott. There's a new sheriff in town. So the victory lap, the final ball. It matters very little that he didn't get the strike. Martin Larsson has got the point. It just keeps getting better and better in Barnsley for Team Europe. 222 then for Martin Larsson, beats Wes Malott's 191, and the singles starts very well for Team Europe. More action to come.